Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me and my guest today on another conversation. I'm your host, Sandy Bastien, and this is Mompreneur Talks. Today, we have an amazing mompreneur with us, and her name, Deja Araujo.
Mm-hmm.
Got it right. I am going to turn it over to Deja so she can introduce herself, tell us who she is and what she does.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sandy. I'm so happy to be here. So as you mentioned, my name is Deja. I own a home decor brand called Saje Rose, named after my daughter, in Florida, New York, in the town of Warwick. We specialize in tabletop decor. So anything from vases to dinner plates to wine glasses, we have it all there. We also welcome some home scents as well. And then also the brand has kind of morphed into like a home decor creative hub. Excuse me. So we do workshops in the back that consist of anything home decor related. So we do mood board making, we do frame dried florals, because we also sell dried florals and like to present that as an alternative to fresh flowers when you're shopping for Mother's Day or any of the days in which you just want to give someone a bouquet. So that's me. I started the brand, I want to say 2021. After having my daughter and experiencing extreme postpartum anxiety. And I tell this story all the time, but I think the basis of it is that when you're going through something like that and your mind is way different than what it was before. So learning to live in like a new body, thinking differently, and then having anxiety is really, really hard. It's like, I can't even describe it even 4 years out. I wanted to stay home all the time. I didn't really want to drive in a car with her by myself. I didn't want to really have people see me. Like for some reason, I didn't want to be like viewed. And being at home all the time, you want the things that you have to use to be well made and pretty, plain and simple. Like you're going to have to eat. So you need pretty plates and pretty forks. You're going to have to drink water at some point. You need a pretty cup. And that's just how I was thinking about things. Everything needed to be functional, well made, and just luxurious to me. And that's how that brand was born, just out of wanting to maintain the safe space in my home. And luckily that my home was my safe space. So that's how we got here today.
Awesome. And I love what you talked about. You said 4 years ago. So that's when the time your daughter was born, for that time. Tell us what's happening. If you would like to tell us what was happening in that moment for you, when you decided, you know what, I'm going to take this space that I'm in, this dark space that I'm in, and bring in some light. What was happening in that moment?
Yeah, I really think I had been running a business since I fresh out of college. So I started a fashion brand called Fashion is My Chocolate, and it was an online e-commerce store. I started it while I was in college, and I kept it going, and I started to lose passion for it because I had this thing where I was learning about sustainability and learning like a lot of fast fashion gets disposed of in awful ways. That is not just good for the planet. And I was just reading more. And when you're buying wholesale, you're buying a set amount of sizes and a set style. And if that doesn't sell, you now have to figure out what to do with it. So whether you're going to discount it to death to get someone to buy it, or you're going to donate it, and where does it end up after it's donated? So I started doing just a lot of research during my postpartum period, especially in like the 1 month, 2 month time frame. And I decided to pivot over to selling things that elevate your wardrobe. So I was thinking, how can we keep our clothes for longer? We can add accessories, we can add bags. That'll help us repurpose the same outfit we wore a million times into another million times of wear. So I started going into that direction. But during the postpartum phase, home decor was popping into my head. Everything I use, like I was eating food in my bed because I breastfed my daughter. So I'm eating food in the bed over her. And I'm like, oh, I want a plate that's like a little bit more turned so that the food doesn't like kind of spill out, or I want this. And that stuff was popping in my head before I even thought about making it a business. Like things that I wanted to be better. I want my fork a little heavier so that it doesn't just flip over my plate, so that when I'm eating, I'm not just making a mess on my bed. So I started thinking about things like that, and the brand started to truly morph into that. And I wanted to be sure about it because I have a big thing like about pivoting to something too extreme. Like I want people to still recognize me as a business owner. So prior to all of this though, I studied home product development at FIT, graduated in 2018. So home decor never really left my mental. I was always in that space. I was always putting things together. I just I wanted to be in fashion. I was in New York City. I wanted to be a fashion stylist. I wanted to own a fashion brand. And that's how that happened. But to get to the home decor piece, yeah, like it was just like little products that I was thinking, oh, I wanted to just be a little bit more like this, or I wanted to be a little bit more like that. And luxuriating postpartumhood, and luxuriating that fourth trimester that no one talks about. Those first 3 months when you bring a baby home, especially as a first time mom, luxuriating that experience. Those words would have never left my mouth at that time. There was no luxury in that. The luxury was just having a healthy baby girl, being able to be present with your child. But I took it up a notch. I wanted to luxuriate waking up and eating. I wanted to luxuriate the coffee I drank when I had 2 hours of sleep, but I just want to be awake in the morning with my family. So that's how that came to be, by really going into those nitty gritty details of what I really wanted.
I love that how you're sharing your story, because I see a lot of my own experiences in what you're saying. And I think that when you're as an entrepreneur, and then you have motherhood that enters your life, right? A lot of people like, oh well, being a mom now is kind of like, takes front row, which it does. But I love what you did there, where you said, you know what, I'm a mom, and I'm still going to elevate the experience of being a mom while desiring fashion in my life, right? You took that experience and even the moments of your postpartum to elevate your space, right? And I think that is the heart of what a lot of entrepreneurs do. Like, people may think that, we're strong people, and yeah, I agree. There's a level of strength there. But I think that more than that is that you're always looking to see, how do I guess I'm going to just use my phrase, is how do I create out of this chaos?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
That is exactly what comes to mind. It's like, I don't like this space. I don't like this feeling. What do I need to do to make it better? And so you start making it better for yourself first, right? That's where you kind of like on that personal development journey, right? Unbeknownst to you, you're not aware of it yet, but you're like, I'm not going to stay there. I'm not going to continue to feel this way. I'm going to do better. And you start to think about, how do I create that space that I want to feel in my space, so that I can feel good in my mind.
Exactly. And everything that you just said is exactly what I went through without knowing it. Like, making something, like, how can I make this better for me? I think being that I'm such like a style and fashion driven person, I like things to just look nice and be cohesive. I really am like, I call myself just the curator. Like, I curate things. I like for everything that's in the space to fit. And I think I was able to translate that from fashion to home decor really well in my shop. And then, and just generally how I think about curating products. Everything is hand selected. Everything has to fit into the grand scheme of things. So nothing is random. And going into the personal development portion of that, it still is ongoing. It'll never stop, prayerfully. Like, you don't even want it to stop. But the self-development portion of that really bled into my personal life. Like, who I am is through and through the entrepreneur. Like, everything I am has to align. You cannot be one way and then go into your entrepreneurial life being a different way. You have to be you, and then travel, be a mom, be a wife, and all those are extensions of you. So solidifying my personality and who I am and what the experience I want people to have when they are introduced to me or have a conversation with me has really been defined in this process. And I thank God for it, because I started running a business when I want to say 20 years old. And I'm going to be 30 next month in 2 months. And the transition and the growth that has happened between that is, for me, currency. Like, that amount of growth is really hard to come by, and for you to make it through and be able to tell people about it. So to your point, like, yes, that personal growth that you don't even know that you're about to take on, whether becoming a mother or becoming an entrepreneur or becoming a wife, is insane. And it's hard to even put into words, but I'm so grateful for it. It has helped me really become the woman that can withstand all of that, all of those things.
And I just want to mention, because I remember when you were at the Monroe location, and now you have your beautiful space in Florida. And, at Monroe, you had like different, sections. You had different businesses, right? The different sections had different businesses. But I want you to know that when I entered your space, I can feel what you were trying to create, what you created. I can feel that. And even when I was there a couple of months ago, was it maybe a month or two ago, when I was there with we were having that conversation, when you enter your space, you can feel the calmness, the cleanliness, all the good things that you want to feel in your space. You brought it into that, which is amazing. And I always tell my kids, I say, when your room is a mess, it's because your mind is messy too.
Precisely. That's exactly it.
Yeah. And I don't think, you have to be on this journey of wanting better to really appreciate that statement. Like, if you are not ready to embrace, okay, yes, there's chaos. Life is chaotic regardless. There's no remedy. There is no cure to the chaos. As a matter of fact, chaos is the foundation of creativity. It's like, that's why you want to create. That's why you want to do better. So it's kind of part of the process and necessary, right? But what you've done is the experience that you wanted to feel. Now you're offering it to your customers in the space that you offer, in the quality of the products that you offer. You can see it through, the plates and the setting of the table and the floral arrangements, even your workshops, even your presence online, it comes out. So congratulations, because I think that a lot of times as a business owner, we're trying to first create something, but we're not really clear on what we're doing. But I think that for you, because you were so intentional about, and then also your background in fashion and all that other stuff comes into play in your space here, but you were intentional about getting better. And now you're like, how do I help others do the same thing too? What do I need to do with my space, with the things that I'm offering to help them create, their own oasis in their houses, right?
Yes,
So,
for sure.
when I was there, I remember there was something that I saw where you talked about like the realtors, right? You were saying perfect gift, new homeowners and stuff. How has that been for you? Like, have you been able to connect with realtors and sharing your story and having, your products being, I guess, used as a way to elevate the spaces that they're showing?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that question. I have been able to connect with them. And as you know, where we are is a ton of them. I mean, I'm sure it's a ton of them everywhere, but it's a lot of realtors in the space that we are. So I have been able to connect with them. I have a few like that we have grown, our relationship has grown a lot closer. And what I love about it is before we even got to this point of like growing a closer relationship, they saw the value in the product and saw what I was trying to do. And I think they can really appreciate the fact that all the offerings are truly curated, and not just throwing them at people trying to make a sale. And that's how I come with everything. Like, I think when dealing with other business owners, you have to really present value. Like, there cannot be, everybody understands what money means. Everybody knows that you want to pay a certain amount of money for something, or you have a budget for something. I need to create value here. I need to tell you why you should pay this amount of money, why the price is the way that it is. And especially when now relationships are everything, there is a ton of real estate agents and you all are essentially like in competition with each other. So use me as a resource. How can I differentiate you from your competitors to your clients? So that's how I like to frame those things, is really value driven, product last. Like, how can Saje Rose or Deja be of value and of service to you? And do you see what I'm trying to do here? Do you see the intentionality? Do you see the curation? Do you see why I put together this cocktail edit for someone that may like cocktails and didn't just throw together a bunch of flowers and plates for someone that does not want that and does not see the value in that? Like, do you see that? And I give them like different options. So it's been great, honestly. I love real estate agents and even interior designers see the value in what I'm doing. So those are like my top two like favorite like B2B type of relationships to have, because they see the value. It's really not so much of a selling like issue. It's more of like, maybe why this over that? Why this over Target? Why this over Walmart? And I like people to know that behind every product here is literally been hand vetted by me and hand curated by me. Everything is designed to fit into the aesthetic. Whenever I get people coming into the shop, the first thing they comment on is the smell, the layout. Like, that's the first thing, because it's like, that is the intention. It's not meant to be overwhelming. There's home decor stores everywhere. Like, literally, you can go to anywhere and buy a candle. You can go to anywhere and buy a plate set. Why do you want to come here and buy it? Because we had a full conversation and now you see the value in Saje Rose. Like, the value is there. And then the price point may align with what you are willing to spend. That's why the shop studio is kind of split. I didn't even want to only have a retail store. I don't believe in just being a salesperson for me. Like that doesn't fit my personality. I like to connect. I like to bond. And the feeling that I get when you leave my space, feeling like a little bit lighter or feeling like, oh, thank you. I'm so glad I spoke to you today. That to me is currency. That to me tops payment. That to me tops everything. Those human connections in which I made your world a little bit lighter for an hour and a half means everything to me. And then that's why people come back. That's why you're willing to even spend, like say something is a little bit more than Target or Walmart, you're willing to spend that money. The value has been created and solidified in your mind. So I think connecting with real estate agents and connecting with those people come to me a little naturally just because that intention is already there. It's already woven into the message.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you a question about, because I know during the time that you opened or, you decided to have like a storefront or work, in a building where, brick and mortar, that was like during COVID, right?
So when did I open the shop at Lake Street? No. It was after COVID. The shops at Lake Street was maybe 2023 or 4. Yeah, I think it was last year, and then the shop was this year. So it was after COVID. But to me, honestly, post-COVID and COVID are the same. Like I think you should move.
Yeah, we're just overcoming the COVID.
Yeah, we're just overcoming. Yeah. We need to move the same way mentally, like in terms of business and in terms of like how you're going to like your whole business model and everything. That's really why the store is the way it is. Like because of COVID, because you see so many of these stores that were long lasting gone. And it's like it's heartbreaking to see like something you built. And so the store for me really serves as a hub for you to get to know the brand, and then after that you'll see what it is. So the store is more than a retail space for me. So not during COVID, but to me the mentality should still be the same. Like how are you going to survive the next pandemic, God forbid, or how are you going to survive the next, the world is crazy right now. I don't even know what's going on. Like, how are you going to survive what is happening today? So I think because we had COVID, opening my store made me switch my strategy a little bit more to where I feel it will be a little bit more long lasting, hopefully. So yes, it wasn't during, but the same mentality stands for me.
Yeah. And it sounds like, at the heart of everything you do is that, the connection, the human experience, the being able to relate to each other and connect with each other. Because I see that, a lot of people, when they start businesses, they're like, I'm going to do it online. Of course, you're saving money because there's a lot of overhead when you have, a location. So there are a lot of people like, but I think that for you with Saje Rose, it's like, the heart of everything that we do is that connection,
Absolutely.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And that's exactly it. And I didn't even realize that was important to me until I opened the shop. I was online with Saje Rose for 4 years. And then prior to that, with my clothing business for almost 8 years, I've only known online. I only thought, complete side note, I only thought I could run a business while having a full-time job. Like I did not even not that I didn't see it being full-time. I just didn't know that for people in my circumstance that this was even a possibility. Like even opening the store, the amount of anxiety I've carried since then, like is insurmountable. But in a way, it's my soul is calmer now that I do this. Like, so it's like the anxiety has increased, but my soul is so much at peace that it really counterbalances it. And I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but I was online for a long time. And then opening the store, I realized, I have to open a store. Like, why didn't I do this already? Because it's that community portion, like I think is the currency that will surpass money. Like we all need money to pay bills. So this isn't that. Like we are definitely a business, but it's like the commute, like the amount of people that I've just met since opening that store, to me is priceless. Like the amount of connections I've had, the amount of times I've been able to share my story, the amount of people that have been able to like even meet my daughter, like, and even admire like the way she is, to me, it surpasses money. So the store almost was a necessity versus a want,
Yeah. Talk to us about, you said you were working at one point and running your business online. So right now you are full-time on your business.
Yeah.
How did that happen for you? How did you decide, let me leave this job and go full force on this uncertain business idea?
Absolutely. And this is a 1-year anniversary of that. So I'm so happy to talk about it here.
Oh, right.
It was nonstop. And so basically I worked in HR. And if you're familiar with HR, there's so many different facets, but I worked in the recruiting realm for executives. So I was responsible for sourcing everybody from like C-suite to like maybe senior director and directors. So I had a pretty nice cushy job in tech. I did that in tech, and honestly, my highest paying 9 to 5. I worked from home. I basically like had the dream corporate life I've wanted for so long since graduating college. So the job was not even the issue. It was super calm. I could do whatever I wanted. I was super comfortable. Got to be with my daughter. My daughter didn't enter like a daycare or anything until 3 years old. So I got to like really have the work from home life and the stay at home mom life in one. It was really nice. But as time was progressing, I moved into the shops at Lake Street, and they were on weekends only. So it was only open Friday through Sunday. So I was working 7 days a week, and I did that for about a year. And I was like, I'm burnt out. I don't get to spend any time with my family, but work, also my 9 to 5, was causing me a lot of anxiety. My anxiety was coming through full force, but felt different than postpartum anxiety. Like it wasn't so much panic attacks anymore. It was like chest tightness. It was a lot of physical pain, arm numbness. So I was dealing with it for a while though, because I knew it was anxiety. So my mind could kind of calm it down. Like I didn't need to go to the hospital or anything. Like I knew it was anxiety. But to feel that constant like physical manifestation of anxiety is unsettling. Like to know that your mind can cause that, why can't it cause positive things as well? Like if you can cause that, why can't it cause positive things? But my mind wasn't even there. So the summer goes on, and I was being micromanaged heavily at my 9 to 5, but I had been there for 2 years. So there was just no need for it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to someone I worked for before, and I'm going to get a part-time gig. I'm going to run my business, the other part-time. So together we'll make full-time. And then that's just how we're going to do. Quit that 9 to 5, got the part-time job. I was working full-time in a part-time job with no full-time benefits, with nothing, with nothing. So going through that transition, feeling stupid, feeling like I'm burdening my husband, I'm burdening my family, having to go back to therapy because I got so depressed. I was severely depressed to the point I didn't even recognize I was depressed. I thought I was just going through a tough time. I wasn't eating. I did not want to eat food. I wasn't sleeping well. I was waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning because I had so much insomnia because of the anxiety of going to my part-time, full-time job where I can't even, and then I had to put my daughter in daycare for 2 days out the week just to work. But I'm working from home still. So this tells you how much of the part-time, full-time job I was doing, to the point where I would sit at the computer from 8 a.m. to about 4 p.m. straight, no food, no nothing, just water. And so I was doing that for a little bit. And let me add on, I was getting married.
Oh, wow.
I was getting married. So I was miserable. I can't even explain to you. Tears every night, crying, anxiety, depression, all of that was happening this last summer. Like it's been a year since then. So that's why I could talk about this now. So I'm in therapy. I'm going through my thing, and I quit that part-time job. Quit the part-time job. I gave them a 30-day notice. During my wedding, they said, you don't have to finish your 30 days. They let me go right then and there. I didn't know. I had no access to my email during my wedding. When I got back from my wedding, I was gone. I was like, go already. I couldn't log into anything, email, nothing. So I am going through severe depression at this point because now I feel like I burdened my family. I made a stupid decision. Why did you think this through? How could you let this happen? Like, how could you not be smart enough to do this? I had to really work through a lot of things mentally to get to this point. And as I'm interviewing for jobs, I'm even interviewing for jobs that I just like the same exact positions I just left, just in different companies. I wasn't getting them. And the job market, if anybody knows it right now, is horrible. Like if you have a job that you hate, but you need it, don't quit. So basically going through that, wasn't getting any jobs. And I saw in Warwick, I saw a advertisement for a space for rent, really small space. And I was like, you know what? Like, I might have to like try to do something like that. $500 a month isn't like brutal, and I can just do workshops in the space. Because prior to that, I did the Wine and Flowers first event at Ocean Vineyards in Chester, and it went really, really well. So I was like, okay, maybe I can like kind of do that, and I can take it here. So I hit up my real estate agent, and I was like, all right, I want to take a look at this space. By the time we got to it, it was like it was already sold. It was already taken. So I was like, all right. But I was in the mindset of looking for a space. So I'm looking around, looking to Middletown. I'm looking here in Warwick. Warwick is super expensive. Middletown is a little different. So looking in there, didn't find anything. And then I just came across the space I'm in now, and I was like, let's go for it. I met the landlord. I actually really enjoyed like our conversation, enjoyed the structure of things there because of the shops at Lake Street. It was a little less structured. And I needed a little more structure. I needed things to work when they're supposed to work. Bathrooms, everything needs to work. So enjoyed that. And then I just went for it. But it was not peaceful. And I want to tell people, like, I really want that to be highlighted whenever I say this. It was not some jolly skipping over rainbows. Oh my God, I'm finally doing my dream. It was not that for me. It was out of necessity. It was out of keeping busy because I was stinking in my house, sitting in my house. my house is my safe place. But when you're sitting here like depressed and your kid is out the house, so you have a chance to be depressed. You know what I mean? Like when your kid is in your face, it's hard for me to be like really sinking in a space, but she's out the house now. Now she's in daycare. So now I have a chance to really sink low and be depressed. And I had to do something to get those creative juices flowing. So that's how I got here, by the struggle and by the grace of God, hanging on by a thread. But I got here because I just almost out of like, I have nothing else to do. If I can't get a job, I can't just sit here and twiddle my thumbs, and I can't just be online. I have the type of experience that needs to be experienced in person. So all of that's how I got here. It was not easy, but we're here, and it's still not easy. But it's fulfilling. I'll say that.
Definitely. And like you said, it's like, sounds like, you went for, it was like, the situation I'm in is not the best, and I'd rather take the risk and see where it takes me as opposed to staying where I am. Because you talked about the effects on yourself, obviously, on your family. And I think that a lot of us, when it comes to, especially moms, is like showing up as the best for our families. Is that part of why you take that risk, and you're encouraged to take it, and you're like, because I need to be better. And what does that look like for you? Sometimes it just looks like just having control over my time. And like you said, you want to be able to say when I can do things, like you talked about the daycare, having to put my child in, all these different things. You think that when you're working the 9 to 5, you're like, okay, the money is steady, right? For sure it's coming. But all the other things that are so important that you don't get to do again. Like I always tell people, I know it's hard, this whole trying to pursue this dream and build this business, but raising your kids is not happening again. And, I think that when you're doing this, you're always constantly thinking about, am I showing up as my best for them? For myself first, right? Because you have to be for yourself first, but also, is that person showing up good for my family, right? So when you say that the job situation, and you said you came back from your wedding and you didn't have a job, right? So that means that did they terminate you?
They basically cut my notice short. I did a 30-day notice. They cut it 2 weeks and basically told me like that was my last check.
In that moment, did you feel like, you know what? I got nothing to lose. Like, yeah, listen, I thought I had 2 more weeks left, right? But no. So I might as well do what I have to do. I think that a lot of the uncertainties that happens in our jobs is really leverage to really get us to become that person that needs to make that decision, that needs to be certain in that decision. Like, yeah, I'm going to do it now. Sometimes you have to be in that difficult place. A lot of people don't want to be in a difficult place. They'd rather everything go smooth and say, all right, let me do it now. It's not going to happen when things are smooth.
Right.
The decision to go wholeheartedly into becoming an entrepreneur and giving up everything else is going to happen in a moment that is probably one of the most difficult moments in your life.
Absolutely.
So what would you say to the mom who's like, yeah, I have this wonderful idea. I would love more time with my family. I don't like the situation I'm in right now, but I'm just not ready to do this right now. What would you say to her?
So a few things. One, I would say weigh out the options. If you just don't like your situation about work, if you're like working a 9 to 5 and you want to pursue your business full time, weigh out the options. Is there something at work you can change first? I will never tell somebody to just quit their job. I will never do that. It is not kind to you. It is not like, it will be so like disingenuous for me to say like, do it. Like, that's crazy, right? So don't just up and quit, but weigh it out. Can you finagle some different hours? Can you do you have a time? Is there ways that you can finagle? If you take your emotions out of it, can you sit down and make a plan? Now, that's that. And if you can make a plan, I say stick with it as long as I know somebody personally that is running a 6-figure business working a 9 to 5. It can be done. It will be hard, but it's going to be hard. Pick your heart. So that's the first thing I would say. But I would say if you're like at where I was at, where you're physically feeling symptoms and you know that like this is not good for your mental health and you are willing to take a leap of faith, I would say take that leap of faith, because there's a reason why your mind is even going to a leap of faith. That's how I like to see things. There's times, like even yesterday, I came in and I was a little frustrated because I had a really good month in May, and I was like, okay, that was our best month. Like, great. How am I going to replicate that? June's almost over. Like, how could I replicate that? And I came in a little anxious. Listen, if your mind can jump to a positive in the midst of you doing that, hold on to it. Don't just like take it for granted, because that is your, whoever you believe in, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in angels, whether you believe in the universe, whether you believe in like crystals, whatever you believe in, somebody somewhere is working in your favor, and they're trying to tell you that you are human in flesh feeling those emotions, but there is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And you have to hold on to that light. And I really think people now need to start getting in touch with their spiritual side, whatever that looks like for you. You need to start reading self-help books, whether it's Eric Thomas, Joe Dispenza, like, and we can jump into the book club later, but this is even that. I mean, strengthen the mind, because you have to start tapping into like the parts of you that you were not familiar with to get to that point. It will be a hard journey. It will be a journey in which you will not recognize yourself. And for you to do that while being a parent, you have to tap into something that's bigger than flesh, like bigger than your body. And I really believe that. I don't think you will get to the next level until you tap into a spiritual side.
Yeah.
So that's what I would tell that mom first. And then I would be like, start making a plan. Like, take away all the like cons and roadblocks. Ideally, what do you need to get to the next level? Do you have to get a shop? I'm talking about take away the money, take away everything. Write down exactly what you need to get to the roadblock, and then start building a plan and work backwards. And that's how I would do that. Things are going to change as you go, but you won't even know what changes until you start. So like a lot has changed for me owning the shop, and my ethos has stayed the same, but a lot has changed for me in terms of business model. And I wouldn't have known that until I got the shop and started moving and seeing what was important to me. But I do think there's something to be said that when you're already like feeling low, take advantage of that feeling. If it feels like it can't get no lower, then go do what you got to do. Because because in a happy space, like you just mentioned, you don't want to take that risk. You're already smooth, you're already calm, you're already settled and content. In that moment when it's so uncomfortable that you can't even like walk into your front door without like almost shedding a tear, or without like going to the bathroom to take a breather, that's the time to do it.
Yeah.
It can't get worse than that emotion. It kind of can't. You know, life can get worse. Things can happen, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about how you feel about you. It kind of can't get worse than what you're feeling right there. And for me, it couldn't have gotten worse. The only thing worse would have been homelessness for me.
Oh yeah, of course.
It would have been for me.
Yeah.
And not eating. So
yeah. But you know what you're saying right now, and you talked about, we're going to get into the book club, because you talk about, you know, connecting with yourself in the way that you're growing your spirit, the spirit, you know, within you. So I listened to Myron Golden. I don't know if you're familiar with him, and he is a business owner too, but he talks a lot about, you know, spiritual stuff from a Christian lens. Talks a lot about the Bible, and he always says that business is going to work on you before it works for you.
Yes.
So what you're saying about, you know, find a way to like grow spiritually, that is the heart of not only yourself, who you're becoming, but also the business.
Yep.
Right? Because if you are not building yourself, you cannot build your business.
No.
Right. You're not going to see those moments that you need to pivot. You're not going to see those moments that you could leverage this experience to something that can help your business grow. It definitely gives you a lens that you would not have without it. Right. You need to have a way to develop yourself in order for you to actually grow. So tell us a little bit about your book club and what you're doing there, and who you're entertaining in that space.
Yeah. For sure. So how we got to the book club was because during my depression, I won't forget it. It was in December, right as I was setting up the shop. And I was listening to Joe Dispenza's The Art of Becoming Yourself. I want to say that's the title. I read it twice now. I don't even know how I forget the title, but I was reading that, and he basically breaks down the science behind getting the things you want and attracting the things you want. Because if you're the type of person that hears the word manifestation and you immediately block it out because it's all mumbo jumbo and you can't do that, this book is for you. Because if he really breaks down the science behind it, this is all data and fact. This is not like anything to be dispute upon. Like, and he really showed that, like, for you to get the things you want, you have to start thinking differently. He breaks down all the ways you can do that. I won't go into that here because it is complex to the point where sometimes I have to reread the book to understand it. But you cannot think the same way. Like, I'm talking about from the time you wake up, your body has already adjusted to the feeling of the 10 years of work, of the 15 years of work. So you not liking your job on Monday mornings and hating Mondays, you don't even have to think about that. Your body already exudes that energy. You don't even, you're on autopilot right now. Like right now, your body mentally knows I wake up in the morning, I take a shower, I hate my day until I get to work. Then I go make my coffee and then I sit and I soak all day. I wait for Friday and your body already does that. You could run on autopilot literally to the day you die. You can, you don't even have to think about it. Yeah. So he really talks about changing the way you think to attract the things you want and not just like being a go-getter. Your job isn't to figure out the how. Your job is to put it out there. I want to be a successful entrepreneur. I want to be a business mogul. I want to be a millionaire. Insert whatever you want here. You put it out there already. There is a world in which you are that. Now, your job is not to figure out the how. Your job is to go do the things that can probably work you there. So now walk in your purpose. What does that mean to you? So that's how the book club came to be, because it started pulling me out of my depression, almost as if like, I kid you not, like someone was like putting a curse on me or something. Like it was really pulling me out because a part of me was like, why are you depressed? Really break that down. Therapy is great, but why are you depressed? Why are you sad right now? What did you do to deserve this feeling? And I really started going through that. And I was like, oh, more women need to hear this. Men too, but really moms, because I know a lot of women. I'm 4 years. My daughter's 4 years old. I know a lot of women, their kids are 15, 20, and they're just now starting to think about this. There's no time like the present, but it's time to start being mentally strong, because you can have everything you want in life. Whatever that looks like is on you. Everybody looks different, but it really is a world in which you don't have to be miserable and be a sucker to the way that life tells you should be, or the way the circumstances that you're in. And it's hard to do. It's a hard job. But that's how the book club got here, because we need to break down what we think we know about ourselves and what we think our feelings are and rewrite that story. And for a long time, I was always, anxious, and things don't really happen to me. It's sometimes a little bit of luck. So we'll see what happens. That's how I live my life. Luck. Like I didn't believe that like you could really control things in your life. And you kind of can't control things in your life, but you can play the game. And I'm really a firm believer in playing that game. And that's how that book club came to be. So like Eric Thomas, we read the first book. You came to our first session. Thank you so much for that. So that was incredible. And we picked UOU by Eric Thomas. And he speaks a lot about walking in your purpose, how to find your purpose, and your why behind the why. And that gave me some clarity, because my why for being an entrepreneur is, of course, more time with my family, money, having no limit on the amount of money I can make, being able to like have a sustainable thing. And I want to be known for something. I'm really big on like being like an expert in something. I want to be known for something. And that's my why. The why behind the why is, I want my daughter to see different ways of life. You see people doing the corporate, like the corporate way. You see people doing the entrepreneurial way. You see people doing this. Pick your choice. Like, what do you think you can do? But that way she has no limitations, because kids are growing up on social media and they're idolizing everybody's highlight moment. And I'm really big on mine just not seeing a highlight moment. You don't even see the work these people are putting in unless they share it. I want you to see the work. I want you to see the tears. I want you to see it, because one day you'll have to pick. You'll have to pick what you want to do. And I don't want you to ever think you have to do something, because you don't. And that's the level of where I'm trying to get to. And hopefully my daughter doesn't have to try to get there. She starts off there. So that's why the book club became, because I'm like, we need more of this. This world is crazy right now. And where we're at, I can't really read my community. Like, I just started out, I say it this way, I just started going outside last year. Like once I was in postpartum, the depths of postpartum for a while. And I just started exploring where I live, like I want to say last year, and really started enjoying where I am. And I don't know too much about the community. Like I'm learning about the community, but I know what's missing. And I know like where I don't feel comfortable going, or where I am looking for, but that just doesn't exist. So the book club was to solve all of those problems. Like it was to solve making a space for women that wanted self-development, that no matter what stage you are in life, self-development, you didn't miss the window. Like it's there. And then also focusing on books that are really there to elevate. I love drama books. I love all kinds of books, but I'm really here for elevation. Like I'm here to really make it so that you don't feel like a victim to the world. I feel like a victim. I felt like my whole life, I felt like a victim and of circumstance, and life is happening. And that like your external world controls your internal. That's not true. There in that book, I'm telling you, like, this is not sponsored. I've never met Joe Dispenza, but if you read that book, he gives examples on like a case study where people that just simply over time thought about growing like a muscle in their body, they grew that muscle. They never worked out. And then the people that worked out grew the muscle, but these people that are just thinking and manifesting, and they're thinking about how they feel after having this muscle and what they're going to do now that they can do that. They can now pick up their kids easier because this pain has went away, because they grew this muscle. These people have grown that muscle simply by thinking about it and placing themselves and being that person. You can't trick yourself either. And that's a lot of things people do. They tell themselves one thing, but your mental doesn't connect. I'm really like big on just being who you have to be. And then your business will grow, your family will grow, all those things will blossom. So that's how the book club came to be, because all of those things are woven into simply just opening your mind. And I think you have to read books to get it, even if you're listening, but it can't be video and it can't be TikTok and Instagram. Like, I think you have to read a book to let it melt, especially when you're talking about a technique that none of us have mastered thus far. We're talking about living in your subconscious and physically changing the way you think, like waking up on Monday and luxuriating the job you hate, making your coffee in a different mug because this one simulates happiness and freedom and slow mornings, and that one simulates work and traffic and loud noises. Like we're really changing the way we think, and that's why the book club is there. And I don't know, I'm trying to send that message in every way I can, whether it's on social media, whether it's on video. But I really need people to understand you cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can play the game. And we're just in it to play the game. You only got one time. So we don't even have other lives. Once you're gone, you're gone. I say try to play it once you learn that you can play it. So that's why the book club came to be, just because of that, really.
And I see you've lit up when you was talking about all this stuff. Like, it's like you're full of all that comes out of you. I don't want to keep you any longer, but I do want you to share what you do on a monthly basis. Like, if people wanted to connect with you or join some of your workshops, how are they able to do that?
Yeah, for sure. So connecting with me, you can reach out to Deja at sagerose.com for any inquiries, but my website has like practically everything on there. You can book our revolving workshops on sagerose.com, Eventbrite, Class Bento, where people might look for things to do if they're in the area. We have revolving workshops. Those happen every week forever. And then we have specialty events where we'll have we have candle making this Friday. So it's like guest instructors come to the shop to put on workshops that I am not able to do. The book club is once a month and it runs in installments. And so we do a 6-month installment. The last session will end in October. We'll let everybody cool off for the holidays, and then we'll pick up probably in the new year, like February. We were charging for it, but now I made it free because I just want more community. Like the charge was to know you cover your activity and cover like the food and everything, but now it's like, come as you are. I want more people, because I met a guy over the weekend who actually, he's like, I don't read books, but I write them. And he's trying to get out there, and he said his mentor told him to join a book club, and he came across mine. That was an honor for me. That was an honor. Like I could have cried. And he was reading a poem he wrote about his sister who passed away in his arms. And he was like, yeah, like I really do write. I just don't read. And he's like, I want to join something that I can share, but I'm like a little nervous, an older gentleman. And for you to come across me as that's why I was like, I need to keep going with this. And I want it to be accessible. So I made it free, but the book club is every third Saturday up until October. And then again, we'll cool off. So that's how you can reach it. But sagerose.com has absolutely everything on there. Easy to navigate. Easy to add to your cart and check out all of our workshops, all of our events. And social media at Shop Sage Rose. Everything's on there as well. Link in bios, all the things. So you can connect with me that way.
Awesome. I definitely would love to join you at one of the book club events. Is there anything else you want to share with us, Deja, that before we, end this interview?
Yeah, I would just say Sage Rose has really morphed into like a hub of wellness past product, but it is product-based wellness workshop, creative type of thing. So it's just it's so incredible, because even in the 6 months that we've been in the shop, we've grown so much. And I really do think that the spiritual part, just to bring that back home, is so important. You have to define who you are, and really you have to look in the mirror. And I just encourage everyone to do that. I think life will get a lot easier once you do that. I really do believe that, especially as someone that's in the thick of that as well. It will get a lot easier once you decide who you are and what you're not going to do and what you're going to do, period. It just, things sort themselves out, and you don't have to do as much of a filter anymore. So I just encourage everyone to do that, because the shop would not be what it is without me having doing that.
I think I want to add this too. If I knew I needed to grow myself before I grow my business, and I had an opportunity to connect with you in your shop and what you're doing, I probably would have joined. I think that it's important for us who are asked the question, how do I do it? How do you do it? I would say, join a community of people that are growing. That's how you start. Maybe you don't need to start thinking about a business idea, whether or not you want to do it online or have a brick and mortar, but you definitely have to start working on yourself. And Sage Rose their shop in Florida, New York is definitely a place that you can join to be connected to the minds of people who are growing, intentional about growing. And as a result of growing yourself, you want to create something for others to grow.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Exactly.
Yeah.
Beautifully put.
Yes. All right, Deja, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me today. I'm so grateful for our interview. I will talk to you again soon.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I loved it. Speak soon. Bye-bye.